Welcome back. We are on part two of this conversation with Wendy Alexander. She's joining us all the way from United States, Atlanta, United States. Shall I put it that way? And I've known Wendy for a little while now because she was based in United Arab Emirates, and she's an amazing person. Her heart is so large, 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 large. I can tell you that because I have been blessed enough to be with her. And I love when I get to be with women who have been in this journey for a little while than myself. I want to yield in and listen because there is wisdom that comes with these things, right? And so I've had that opportunity to be with Wendy, and I'm so excited she's here today with me. It's not her first time on Fauza Diary. She has been on this platform before, and she shared quite a lot. You're gonna find it on the YouTube. If you just scroll some of those programs we've shared before, and today we are here again. And if you just joined, you don't know who Wendy is. Wendy Alexander, she is an international business consultant, but she believes that Jesus is the CEO.
Amen.
Everything we do, because ultimately we are accountable and we will be answerable to everything that we have done on this part of eternity. Thank you so much, Wendy, for sticking up and for sharing so beautifully. You've shared quite a lot, already of living in UAE, that experience, what led you to go back home just before the closure of COVID, and what you've been doing now. But on this episode, I would love for you to share a little bit about the Chosen for Youth NGO. You are in South Africa and the Lord tells you, Wendy, the time is now. I mean, that's like Isaiah 60:22. He says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it fast. You are in South Africa, a new country, bang, face to face with the Lord. And the NGO is born, chosen for you. How was that experience for you?
It was,
Or
I was,
even better, sorry, Wendy, what did it do to you rather? Yeah.
it, it's so, my mentor, Dr. Princess Boomy Hancock, will always tell me, you could try to run away from mental health, Wendy, if you, she tells me, you could try to run away if you want to, but he's going to bring it back. And she's always said that no matter how many times I would say, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. I'm being honest, mental health can be very, especially when you're somebody who just gives, gives, gives. And when it comes to mental health, and I like to help people, and sometimes you can't help everybody, right? And so
Yeah.
I would struggle with that. And so I would get burnt out a lot of times in mental health because I've been doing this, like I said, over my daughter's 27, over 20, 25 years or so. And so she would say, well, you can keep trying to run, but he's going to bring you back. And sure enough, I went there for a business event,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so what did he do? He said, no, you're going to do this NGO with women and children for mental health, substance abuse, and also entrepreneurship. And so at first I was just like, here, she's somewhere around. Dr. Prince, she's somewhere around. I see her little voice, but I felt when I heard that the need was there, I felt different because I said, this is a place that I can serve. This
Yeah.
is a place that I can bring people that I know to be able to help these families. I've done a lot of work in the United States, and all the work that I've done in mental health in the United States that I can now take to Africa,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of those skills, all those trials and tribulations, like I've worked in every field of mental health there is, except for being a licensed therapist. Now, we're always a therapist, right? But a
Yeah.
licensed therapist. But when it came to running group homes and, starting schools and juvenile detention centers and all of that, I've done the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always, foster care and, training. And so I'm probably a trainer in everything mental health, to be honest. And
Mm-hmm.
so all of that now, I didn't realize before is that the reason why he already knew. He knew what I was going to do, right? He always knows what we're going to do. And
Yeah.
so those reasons, those skills were there. And now I'm able to take those skills that I have and now being able to help, people in different parts of Africa. And so I'm excited about it. It feels rewarding, more rewarding than any other thing that I do,
Mm-hmm.
because you're changing someone's life, and a family's life, and you're helping to make it better. So for me, it's probably one of the most exciting things that I do. And the name Chosen for Youth honestly came, I prayed about it, and he gave it to me. That's what I went with, to be honest. And so, and I was like, chosen. So I'm chosen for
Yeah.
you, you know? And I've always had the connections with youth. I've been able to help them, especially the ones who have any type of mental health needs, substance abuse needs. I've always been able to connect with them. And so this for me is just, it was always in the making. Now it's here. I've always helped other people build their nonprofits and support their nonprofits. And he said, no, it's now time for you
Your
now
time.
it's my time. It's my
That is,
time.
that's so beautiful, Wendy. And I love what Martin Luther King said in one of the speeches. I don't know if I remember all the words, but there is there is a quote that says, "Not everybody can be famous,
Mm,
but everybody can be great."
yeah,
Right? Because greatness is determined by service. You
that's right.
only need a heart full of love, and there is other things that for the quote, but it takes love, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
It takes faith. It takes love, to go out, to really go out and serve.
It does.
And you are talking about mental health, Wendy. I would love for you to sort of tie that because of that, you've had an experience yourself. I always believe that the apple does not always fall far from the tree, right? It
Absolutely.
doesn't. And
Absolutely.
we will never get an orange from the apple tree, neither an apple from an orange tree. And so this is something that you have shared before about mental health struggles and all this. But for someone who is listening and they have heard about chosen for youth, sorry, you know, what would you say has been your defining factor on really navigating the mental health issues?
My own mental health.
Yes, and also because people who they listening, they're like, okay, she's talking about mental health, abuse, because that's what led you to Birth Chosen for Youth. But I always believe it's because of our own testimonies that encourages us, to use our gifts. So how has this journey been for you? If you can share a little bit there before we wind up.
So yeah, so I always say that most people that are in some type of mental health, or that's their passion or whatever it is usually because they've had their own experience. And,
Yeah,
I always say that, and who else can better relate to people going through something than somebody who's gone through it, right? So
yeah,
then they're not saying, well, let me just tell you how to do this. Let me no, I'm speaking about from experience. And so working with teenage girls for years, to be honest, I never shared my story out of all those years until 2018, when I shared it with, writing a book, Tear the Veil, with 18 other women. And that was my first time ever sharing my journey. So
mm-hmm,
people who saw me in mental health, maybe they did think that I maybe had a story, or maybe some people thought I was just passionate about it, because after when they heard my story, they was like, what? You went through all of that? And so as a teenager, especially today, it's definitely changed with all technology and things that are going on. But when I was in
mm-hmm,
a teenager, I struggled a lot, and this is a trigger warning for anybody. I struggled a lot with depression, anxiety. I had a ex-boyfriend who was very abusive mentally and physically. He also held a gun to my head, said he's going to kill me. So I went through a lot of traumatic events in my teenage years. And so when I shared my story for the first time on Facebook, and I would never forget her. I always talk. I don't say never say anything about talk about her. She
yeah.
sent me a message. She said to me, "Had you not shared your story, I would have taken my life tonight."
Oh my God.
And so I never met her. I never talked to her on the phone. But we always messaged on Facebook since 2018, and she's doing amazing things. She's graduated from college. Her kids are grown. And so, so don't take for granted the messenger, how we message people and speak to people, and how we can help, because I was able to be a part of her journey to where she is now just by me opening up and sharing my story. And that's why I always encourage people to do so. But that's what really honestly birthed also Children for Youth, because I've gone through some things. And when people from South Africa or Kenya or somebody reach out, Wendy, we want you to talk to this youth, and it's such in alignment with something that I've gone through or somebody that I've helped, but more than likely it's something me personally has gone through, that I can instantly tell their parents, oh, this is what it is. And they're like, how did you know? Because I've gone through it. And so it makes it's just rewarding to know that, honestly, that I'm able to help somebody by what I went through. So I'm grateful for everything that I've gone through in my life. A lot of times people say, gosh, I wish I didn't go through that. And they let
Yeah.
the past hold them back, even if it was traumatic. And no, you take your testimony and you turn it into something positive to help someone else. And so I am grateful for every trauma, every trial, tribulation, everything I went through, because now that experience is helping someone else, but it also heals me to be able to help someone else.
Yeah. I think a mutual connection with us, Dr. Robin. I
Hmm.
was talking to her not long ago, and she said, um, turn, turn your mess into a message. There is power in turning our mess into a message. And thank you so much, Wendy, for sharing, because there is always a reason why, we do what we do. And it's not only for us, actually, or for the applauses of people, but really honoring our gifts,
That's right.
and testimony. The Bible said they overcame by what?
Yeah,
By the word and the power of their test.
that's right.
They overcame. It's scriptural. And so it's so beautiful to hear you that you are using your testimony not only to encourage others also, but you are making Chosen for You a place where people can be seen, can be heard, can be loved, can be cared for, which it's all what we desire. Which
It is.
sometimes we complicate life, but life is actually very simple. We all desire for the simple things that sometimes even money can't buy, Wendy.
Right. That's true. That's so true.
And so, Children for Youth, beautiful ministry, Wendy. How can we, you know, be involved in this beautiful initiative? Or if someone who is listening, they have someone who, you know, can push on or add on to the seed, all these things, how can we be a part of this? Because ultimately, it's all for the glory of God, because the audience is one, only Jesus.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So one of the things we're working on now is we're working on building capacity for people. So what I mean by that, people who are therapists, psychiatrists, people who work in substance abuse, mental health, if you have that background experience, entrepreneurship, if you've gone through your own experiences, you want to mentor, volunteer, those are the people that we're looking for, because I truly believe that, like, I never try to do anything alone. I truly believe in collaboration and working with people. I don't try to
That's
reinvent the
that's why I
wheel.
said you are a midwife, right?
I don't. I stay in my garden. I don't be trying to grow any other seeds that I'm not supposed to be growing. And so I reach out to people. And so we're in the process now of developing our website. And so if anybody would definitely like to reach out, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's
Mhm.
Wendy Alexander, and just say Chosen for Youth and connect with us. But we are definitely building this capacity of people. We have a lot of people have volunteered, their time, and of course, we're working on our sponsorships and our fundraising. So because we want to be able to compensate people at the same time. But we definitely have some people, psychiatrists, that have said they wanted to volunteer. It's just amazing how many people, like I said, I didn't worry about the how or the people. I knew he would bring them, and it's
Mhm.
been an
Mhm.
influx, and I'm grateful. And so the more, the better, to be honest. And we just all do it together, because that's what we're here to do, is to serve. That's what we're
Yeah,
here for.
absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wendy, for sharing. And I really pray and believe that all things are working together for good, you
Amen.
know, for the
Amen.
glory of God, for those who are called according to his purpose.
Amen.
And our time is up, Wendy. It's always lovely to have you on Fauza Diaries. But I would love for you to, as we close, for someone, let's speak to the youth who, you know, Wendy, I love social media. I won't lie to you, but I feel it has also added to a lot of issues, especially to the younger generation,
Absolutely.
you know, and there is pressure. There is, people tend to feel like there is expectations, like there's someone sitting on the other side of the screen expecting you to post or to do something or, you know, and whatnot.
Right.
There's just something, there is a shift in the time that we are living now, Wendy. So since chosen for you, you know, what would you tell the youth, especially that the one or those that they are struggling, you know, with, oh, I posted something and nobody liked it, or, you know, mental
Mm-hmm.
health issues,
Mm-hmm.
or really feeling unworthy of this life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we are all in different seasons of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
sometimes it's so hard to, I think the teen age,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the youth season is actually the most difficult season. I mean, I struggled, you know, I went through depression in that season of my life. Because you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to find yourself in the community that you live in and you don't even know where you fit in.
True.
So I would
That's
love
so.
for you to speak to this, to the next gen, Wendy.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and that's what I was saying. You know, when I went through my journey, you know, depression and all that I went through as a teenager, I didn't have social media then, and so now you do, and so with that, it adds a little bit. No, now I'm not gonna say a little bit more. It adds a lot more pressure. I can't even imagine what I was going through back then, and now having social media on top of it to you know, and you're right, because you know, people want to see how many followers you have, and you know, you post to make sure you look good, because if you don't, people are going to say hateful things. And you know, how do you deal with the what they call trolls on there, you know? And if you're having a mental health, you know, episode, and you go on there and you see something that someone has posted and they didn't say trigger warning, this is what I'm going through, followed by this is how you get help, that's not good, right? And so I would say, and which I do say to you today, is I always say take a social media break, you know. Number one. Number two, remove people from your follow list that are not inspiring you, not helping you, not motivating you, who are, you know, make sure you're following people who have joy, you know, and is talking about Jesus and God, and you know, that's bringing you all those good things, and remove those people that are not from your social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then also number three, always, you know, definitely look for resources within your own community that can help you. There's so many 800 numbers now. There are people that come out with apps. I think is great for teenagers to be able to connect. But definitely the social media breaks are the biggest, because it's such a huge influence, and then even taking, and it's okay to take the break, you know. I think that's another thing. It's just like, okay, I'm going to miss out. And, you know, I might not have enough. People are not going to like my page anymore because people say you have to post 2 and 3 times a day. And no, the right people will always be there, whoever's supposed
Yeah.
to be there. And social media is not your life. It's not. It is social media. It is for entertainment purposes. That is not your life. Um, and just to reach out to the, you know, the people, like if you want to be on social media and you are going through something with your mental health, then I want you to hashtag mental health support and look for those people who are doing like nonprofits and seeing what they're doing to help, you know, youth in your area, and seeing how you can volunteer and be a part of that. Because a lot of times we don't want to tell people our story, just like I didn't, right? But what I did was I would volunteer, and I got jobs in mental health to help teenage girls, you know, but it was helping me because I was healing from that, you know. Then I went to get my own therapy, you know, and so, and I still continue to go to therapy today. There's nothing wrong with that. And especially in, you know, the African American community, we always talk about how you keep everything at home. You don't
Yeah.
tell anybody.
Don't
Your
hang your
therapist,
dirty laundry
yeah,
outside on the table.
your grandma is the therapist, okay? And yes, grandma can be a therapist. But she's not a licensed therapist, okay? And so it's okay to go to therapy. It is okay. And now there's no more excuses. I still have my same therapist when I was in Dubai. You have technology that can be there. They got it on your phones. They even do text message technology. So there's always a way to get help, and it's okay to get help. I think
Hmm.
honestly, everybody needs a therapist. I'm just going to be honest. No, everybody needs a therapist. I don't care what you do in your field, whether or not you had any type of mental health. You've gone through something in your life, even if it's, somebody passing away and grief. You need a therapist sometimes to
Yeah.
go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just needs to be more known, and it's okay. Like it's just part of it. Like, yeah, I got a therapist. Just like I talk about insurance, talk about having a therapist. You should, it's an alignment. And so I would definitely say to you, don't worry about what people think. Always be true to yourself, know your worth, pray, have faith, definitely go seek help. And social media, again, is entertainment. It's not your life.
I love that. And what a better way to close our conversation with that. Social media is for entertainment. It's not your real life. I love that. And I think the awakening for what you have just said, it's so that nobody should have pressure.
Right. Exactly.
There's no pressure at all.
Hmm.
So thank you so much, Wendy. I loved this conversation.
Me too.
I
Thank you so
really
much.
did.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And yeah, I really hope that as you are listening, or for those who will be stumble this conversation later, Wendy, she has shared a lot of things. Her beautiful ministry, Chosen for Youth. She's an international business consultant. I call her a midwife because she's a connector. Okay. And she is just amazing. Her heart is just so huge, and I just love that. I love her for being her and speaking life also. She has the heart to speak life to other people. When I love what you said, you don't have problem to invite because you mind your own garden. You're not gonna add weed in someone else's garden. This is real, guys, because in the time we are living in, sometimes when do you, I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm here. Like sometimes you feel like there are people out here, they're just looking for who to devour. And I love your narration, the way you have put it. I think it's so beautiful. And I
Thank you.
really hope for you guys that this conversation will encourage you. For the youth, Wendy shared, if you have pressure, anything that is not building you up, take a break from social media, but also what I want to end here with is we are here. You can reach out to me. I can connect you to the right people who can also help, with all these things that Wendy has also shared, or even better, reach out even to Wendy, all what we are trying to say here is you are not alone. And that's why Chosen for Youth got birthed for a purpose for such a time as this. Thank you guys so much for listening and
Yeah.
for watching. And Wendy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I
I'm
love you
grateful.
so much.
So grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. We'll see you guys soon with another conversation just like this one. Shalom.